guys, today I have a book haul to share with you. You guys, I'm going to do something a little different in this book haul. This is going to be a book haul that is actually up to date for once. I have been saying in all of my past book hauls that I am just so terribly behind on book hauls, like to the point that some of the books that I'm trying to haul, they're like a couple years old at this point. So I was like, instead of doing a book haul this month with some fairly old books, let's do a book haul of some books that I just recently purchased that are not that old. And then, yeah, I'll go back to older books. So yeah, I just wanted to do something a little different for this book haul and actually do an up-to-date book haul, which is a little more exciting, I think. So yeah, let's get going. I still have everything down here at my feet, still in the Barnes & Noble bag box that they all came in, so let's get going. First up, we have The Resurrectionist, A. Ray Dunlap, and I love this cover design, you guys. There's something just nice and gothic and creepy to it with the skeleton. I love it. And I love the inside too, because it almost looks like a thorny bush. It almost looks like, but at the same time, I think it's also supposed to almost look like veins, in the human body. So Edinburgh, Scotland, 1828. Naive but determined, James Willoughby has abandoned his posh, sheltered life at Oxford to pursue a lifelong dream of studying surgery in Edinburgh. A shining beacon of medical discovery in the age of the New Enlightenment, the city's university offers everything James desires, except the chance to work on a human cadaver. For that, he needs to join one of the private schools in Surgeon's Square at a cost he cannot afford. In desperation, he strikes a deal with Aneurin McKinnon, a dashing young dissectionist with an artist's eye for anatomy and a reckless passion for knowledge. Aneurin promises to help him gain the surgical experience he craves, but it doesn't take long for James to realize he's made a devil's bargain. Aneurin is a body snatcher, and James has unwittingly become his accomplice. Intoxicated by Aneurin and his noble mission, James rapidly descends into the underground ranks of the Resurrectionists, the body snatchers infamous for stealing fresh corpses from churchyards to be used as anatomical specimens. Before he knows it, James is caught up in a life-or-death scheme as rival gangs of snatchers compete in a morbid race for power and prestige. Yes, this sounds just so good, you guys. There's just something kind of creepy about it. Again, this cover kind of says it all, kind of this gothic eeriness. Next up, The Shadowed Land by Sigan Pike. I'm not sure how to pronounce the author's name. Sigan Pike, maybe? This is actually book 3 in the Shadow Queen series, I believe is what this is called. I have yet to actually start this trilogy. I've been waiting for this third book to come out because I'm the type of person, I like to kind of get a whole series and binge it. I'm just that kind of reader. So yeah, this is book 3. What I know about this series, because I'm not going to sit and read the inside flap for it because I think it'd be spoilery since this is book 3. What I do know about this trilogy is that it does take place during like Arthurian times, and like really taking a historic approach to it, like the real figure, of Arthur, if he did indeed live or whatnot, and the people surrounding him. So yeah, this is taking kind of a more historic approach to the story of King Arthur. Yeah, and I can't wait to get to this trilogy because it just sounds so good, so intriguing, kind of a little bit of a unique spin and take on the story of Arthur. Because yeah, even just looking at like the names of some of the characters, like everyone's names are spelled really differently from how they traditionally are spelled in Arthurian legend. Yeah, I think this is supposed to take like a kind of more of a Celtic approach to the legend, kind of that aspect of it, if I'm not mistaken. Next up, Christmas with the Queen by Hazel Gaynor and Heather Webb. This is actually something that I put on my Christmas list for 2024, but my sister, she was not able to find this book in time to give it to me as a Christmas gift. So I was like, well, I'm going to go ahead and just purchase it for myself. So yeah, this book, taking place in December of 1952, when Queen Elizabeth II arrives at Sandringham Estate in Norfolk, Christmas preparations begin in earnest. The young queen, still finding her feet as the new monarch, must now find the right words for her first Christmas Day radio broadcast. But can old traditions survive in a a post-war Britain hungry for change. Yes. So yeah, this is going to have a lot to do with, I guess, Queen Elizabeth II when she was a young woman, her very first year as monarch, her first Christmas. So yeah, this should be really cute and fluffy, hopefully, I think. And next up, let's go on to this silly book right here, and this is Pride and Prejudice in Space. By Alexis Lampley. So yeah, this is pretty much Alexis Lampley taking Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen and rewriting over it effectively and turning everything into like space themes, space elements. Very much exactly what went on with Seth Grahame-Smith when he did Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Because all Seth Grahame-Smith did with Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, he took Jane Austen's book and just kind of rewrit over it and put zombie elements in it, you know? So yeah, as I was glancing through this, it looks like Alexis Lampley is doing the exact same thing that Seth Grahame-Smith did with Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. So I got this. I was like, you know, I'm kind of intrigued by this, and it's a nice hardback. It's a nice hardback because there's no flap on here. There's no flap on here. This is the cover, and yeah, it's pink. It's so vibrant and colorful in here. You guys look at all this colorfulness going on in the book and whatnot. There's like pictures and stuff in here. So yeah, I decided to go ahead and give this a chance and see how I like it. It should be fun, hopefully, because I really like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, so I'm hoping I like this. Next up, Wings of Starlight by Allison Saft. And this is a Disney book, if you can't tell, and it's supposed to be Tinkerbell, you guys. And so we have Tinkerbell here on the cover, and like a really hot-looking fairyman back here, you guys. Oh, and this is so pretty inside, you guys. It's really blue and purpley. Okay. It's been centuries since a warm season fairy has crossed into the winter woods, and while most fear the legends of monsters lurking in the frozen lands, Clarion can't help being intrigued by winter's stoic beauty. However, under the watchful eyes of the current monarch and the court's seasonal ministers, Clarion has little time to dwell on daydreams, while the days to her coronation dwindle away. That is, until reports of a monster crossing from winter into spring make their way to the palace. Clarion sees defeating this threat as an opportunity to prove she is worthy of her new role, but instead of finding a monster at the edge of winter, she finds Milori, a young guardian of the winter woods. Together they form an unlikely bond as they race to save their lands. As their alliance warms to something more, they will discover there is a reason a warm season fairy and a winter fairy must not be together, and the cost could be just as deadly as the monsters that prowl the winter woods. Okay, so is this not Tinkerbell? You know, seriously, this looks like Tinkerbell, unless this is Tinkerbell, and that's actually Tinkerbell's real name is Clarion? I don't know. Yeah, because I kept reading somewhere that this is supposed to be like Tinkerbell. I'm not sure. I'm a little kind of confused if this is supposed to be actually Tinkerbell. I know there's like all of those other fairies, because there's like all these other spin-off books that Disney has done, and like little cartoons where there's like Pixie Hollow. It's like called Pixie Hollow, and there's like Tinkerbell and like all her friends. So maybe this is just a book about one of Tinkerbell's friends, possibly. I don't know, because I've never really gotten into that. But yeah, this sure does look more like Tinkerbell more than anything to me. So I don't know. I'll have to read this and see how it goes. Either way, even if this is not Tinkerbell like I was thinking it was, I'm still really interested to read this because it's still put out by Disney, and I love cute little Disney books. And next up, Victorian Psycho by Virginia Fato. And this book was on my list of, I think, most anticipated books for this year, so I'm glad I finally got my hands on it. And yet, it's actually a tiny book. I cannot believe how tiny this book is. It's a lot smaller than I thought, because it's under 200 pages. You guys, I can't believe that. Okay, so let's see. Winifred Naughty arrives at Inzer House, prepared to play the perfect governess. She'll dutifully tutor her charges, Drusilla and Andrew, tell them bedtime stories, and only joke about eating children. But long, listless days spent within the estate's dreary confines come with an intimate knowledge of the perversions and pathetic preoccupations of the Pounds family. Mr. Pounds can't keep his eyes off Winifred's chest, and Mrs. Pounds takes a sickly pleasure in punishing Winifred for her husband's wandering gaze. Compounded with her disdain for the entitled Pounds children, Winifred finds herself struggling at every turn to stifle the violent compulsions of her past. French tutoring and needlework are one way to pass the time, as is admiring the ugly portraits in the gallery and creeping across the moonlit lawns. Patient Winifred must have patience. Hold on, let me restart that over. Patience. Winifred must have patience, for Christmas is coming, and she has very special Gifts planned for the dear souls of Inser House. And it says, yeah, brimming with sardonic wit and culminating in a shocking conclusion. Victorian Psycho plunges readers into the chilling mind of an iconic new literary psychopath. Oh, okay. Ooh, yeah, this sounds really good and creepy. It's really vague. You know, the plot synopsis of this is super vague. So I'm expecting there just to be something wildly insane that happens probably halfway through this book. That's just totally unexpected. Next up, Bitter Passage by Colin Mills. I am definitely super excited to get to this at some point. I'm thinking about trying to read this sometime before the year is up, because this definitely sounds like my cup of tea right here, you guys. In May 1845, Sir John Franklin, commander of HMS Erebus and HMS Terror, departed England to seek a navigable route through the top of the Americas. He and his 128 men never returned. So 4 years later, Royal Navy Lieutenant Frederick Robinson and Assistant Surgeon Edward Adams are determined to find the men missing in the Arctic. While they are united in purpose, they are divided in ambition. The pious and idealistic Adams strives to save his boyhood hero. Robinson hungers for promotion through the admiralty ranks, weathering a relationship as volatile as the icy barren land upon which they trek. Robinson and Adams lead a team of seamen in search of the lost expedition. What awaits them is a struggle against not only the elements but each other, as loneliness, starvation, and maddening isolation prove more chilling than the deadliest Arctic blast. So yeah, the premise of this book, it relates to the really doomed, creepy Franklin expedition, where everyone just kind of up and disappeared. Where'd they all go? So yeah, this is taking place 4 years after that. And yeah, a whole nother group of guys going out there to try and figure out, well, what happened? Where'd they all go? So it seems like it's not going to go well either. Yeah, this sounds just so good. There seems like there's going to be a hint of something kind of creepy and eerie going on, you guys. I'm here for it. Next up, The Girls of the Glimmer Factory by Jennifer Coburn. And yeah, when I did my upcoming historical fiction releases, this was part of the list of releases, so I got my hands on this. Hannah longs for the days when she used to be free, but now she is a Jewish prisoner at Theresienstadt, a motto ghetto where the Nazis plan to make a propaganda film to convince the world that the Jewish people are living well in the camps. But Hannah will do anything to show the world the truth. Along with other young resistance members, they vow to disrupt the filming and derail the increasingly frequent deportations to death camps in the East. Hild is a true believer in the Nazi cause. Poor girl. Working in the Reich Ministry for Public Enlightenment and Propaganda. Though they're losing the war, Hild hasn't lost faith. She can't stop the Allied bombings, but she can help the party create a documentary that will renew confidence in Hitler's plans for Jewish containment. When the filming of Hitler Gives a City to the Jews faces production problems due to a growing resistance among the prisoners, Hild finds herself in a position to finally make a name for herself. And when she recognizes Hannah, an old childhood friend, she knows she can use their friendship to get the film back on track no matter what the cost. Yeah, so I'm guessing it's going to be all about trying to make this propaganda film, and hopefully it does not get made. Next up, Let's Call Her Barbie by Renee Rawson. And yeah, this is just so wonderfully pink. I love it. Okay, so when Ruth Handler walks into the boardroom of the toy company she co-founded and pitches her idea for a doll unlike any other, she knows what she's setting in motion. It might just take the world a moment to catch up. In 1956, the only dolls on the market for little girls let them pretend to be mothers. Ruth's vision for a doll shaped like a grown woman and outfitted in an enviable wardrobe will let them dream they can be anything. As Ruth assembles her team of creative rebels, she knows they're working against a ticking clock to get this wild idea off the ground. In the decades to come, through soaring heights and devastating personal lows, public scandals, and private tensions, Ruth and each of her partners, they will have to decide how tightly to hold on to their creation, because Barbie has never been just a doll. She's a legacy. And you guys, believe it or not, I have yet to actually watch the Barbie movie that came out, what was it, a couple years ago at this point? I have yet to watch that movie, but I can't wait to get to it. I'm looking forward to it. Next up, All the Water in the World by Erin Caffel. That might be how that's pronounced, but we'll just go with that. In the years after the glaciers melt, Nani, her older sister, her parents, and their researcher friends have stayed behind in an almost deserted New York City, creating a settlement on the roof of the American Museum of Natural History. The rule: take from the exhibits only when in dire need. They hunt and grow their food in Central Park as they work to save the collections of human history and science. When a superstorm breaches the city's flood walls, Nani and her family must escape north on the Hudson. They carry with them a book that holds their records of the lost collections. Racing on the swollen river toward what may be safety, they encounter communities that have adapted in very different and sometimes frightening ways to the new reality. But they are determined to find a way to make a new world that honors all they've saved. So yeah, this is it sounds like some sort of dystopian book. It seems like the world has become flooded. All the glaciers have melted and now the world is flooded. you know, like that movie. What's that crazy movie? What's it called? Waterworld? Was that with Kevin Costner? Waterworld with Kevin Costner? I think that's what that was. This sounds like it's like that, but like not as maybe intense. Or maybe it's stupid or silly. I don't know. Next up, A Death in Diamonds by S.J. Bennett. And this is part of the Her Majesty the Queen Investigates series. I think this is like book 4 in this particular series. And this is another series I have yet to get to either, but I'm hoping to get to it sometime in the future. Yeah, my understanding of all these books, whenever I've kind of looked at the synopsises for all of them, they're all very much standalone. They don't really connect, so I'm going to go ahead and read the plot synopsis of this one, because it's not going to spoil anything else in the series whatsoever. Because if anything, this is actually going back to the 50s, because the other books in the series are a bit more modern, to my understanding. So yeah, this one is actually going backwards. This takes place in 1957, England. Young Queen Elizabeth II is finding her way in post-war Europe, trying to repair friendships with foreign governments. Advised by her father's old courtiers, the Queen suspects that they may not have her best interests at heart. One of them is trying to sabotage her public appearances. That much she is sure of. When two bodies turn up in Chelsea, the Queen finds herself unwillingly used as an alibi for somebody very close to her. With the reputation of the monarchy at stake, Elizabeth knows she can't face these challenges alone. She needs support from someone she can trust. Therefore, she enlists the help of an ex-codebreaker, Joan McGraw, to uncover the truth. So yeah, these are just kind of silly books where Queen Elizabeth II, she's investigating some sort of mystery or murder or something. You know, it's all really silly and fluffy, not to be taken seriously at all. So I think they're really cute sounding. Next up, A Language of Dragons by S.F. Williamson. I have no idea if this is supposed to be spinning out into like a trilogy of books, because on Goodreads it makes it sound like it's a standalone, but I have a feeling this is going to branch out into a trilogy, you guys. But yeah, this sounds pretty good. Let's see, London, 1923. I'm already hooked. I'm already there. Dragons soar through the skies and protests erupt on the streets, but Vivian Featherswallow, I love that name, Featherswallow. Vivian Featherswallow isn't worried. She's going to follow the rules, get a summer internship studying dragon languages, be smart, be sweet, and make sure her little sister never ever has to risk growing up third class. She just has to free one dragon. By midnight, Viv has started a civil war. With her parents and cousin arrested and her sister missing, Viv is brought to Bletchley Park as a codebreaker. If she succeeds, she and her family can all go home again. If she doesn't, they all die. As Viv begins to discover the secrets of a hidden dragon language, she realizes that the fragile peace treaty that holds human and dragon societies together is corrupt, and the dangerous work Viv is doing could be the thread that unravels it. So yeah, my understanding of what this book is supposed to be, it's supposed to be like alternative British history, essentially, because it's still taking place in London in the 1920s, and there's like still some sort of historical context to it. So yeah, it sounds like this is a world in England that dragons are indeed real, and there's people who can talk to them, and I suppose, and figure out their language. So this sounds really good, hopefully. Next up, Bemused by Farah Rashan, and this is another Disney book. I told you guys, I'm a sucker for cutesy little Disney books. They're nice little escapist books to get away from like darker, heavier books that I'm reading. So yeah, if you can't tell from this book, like I said, it takes place in the world of Hercules, and this is following the Muses from Hercules. Yeah, guys, yay. So yeah, this is supposed to be some sort of origin story. I'm not going to read the entire synopsis here, but it's supposed to be like an origin story to the Muses from Hercules and how they essentially become the Muses and get to the position and status that they do. And yeah, this sounds just so good. Yeah, guys, when I was looking through the whole synopsis, I cannot wait to get to this. It's nice to see a Disney book focused on some different Disney characters, because just about every Disney book that I read, it's always about the Disney princesses or the Disney villains. So it's nice that this book is focusing on some secondary characters that don't tend to get very much love. Next up, The Favorites by Lane Fargo. I definitely plan on reading this book at some point before this year is over. I'm hoping my next TBR, I'm really hoping that I'm able to read this because this sounds just so good. She might not have a famous name, funding, or her family's support, but Katerina Shaw has always known that she was destined to become an Olympic skater. When she meets Heath Roca, a lonely kid stuck in the foster care system, their instant connection makes them a formidable duo on the ice. Clinging to skating and each other to escape their turbulent lives, Kat and Heath go from childhood sweethearts to champion ice dancers, captivating the world with their scorching chemistry, rebellious style, and roller coaster relationship, until a shocking incident at the Olympic Games brings their partnership to a sudden end. As the 10-year anniversary of their final skate approaches, an unauthorized documentary reignites the public fascination with Shaw and Roca, claiming to uncover the real story through interviews with their closest friends and fiercest rivals. Kat wants nothing to do with the documentary, but she can't stand the thought of someone else defining her legacy. So after a decade of silence, she's telling her story from the childhood tragedies that created her all-consuming bond with Heath to the clash of desires that tore them apart. Sensational rumors have haunted their every step for years, but the truth may be even more shocking than the headlines. I'm a sucker for ice skating, figure skating at the Olympics, you guys, the Winter Olympics. I love that sport, so I'm definitely excited to get to this. Next up, The Last Room on the Left by Leah Conan. And what kind of got me for this book, it kept comparing it to The Shining, but The Shining, if it was like more from the woman's point of view. So I was like, ooh, okay. So yeah, let's see. Carrie's life is in shambles. Her husband has left her. Her drinking habit has officially become a problem, and although the deadline for her big book deal, the one that was supposed to change everything, is looming, she can't write a word. When she sees an ad for a caretaker position at a revitalized roadside motel in the Catskills, she jumps at the chance. It's the perfect getaway to finish her book and start fresh. But as she hunkers down in a blizzard, she spots something through a window, a pale arm peeking out from a heap of snow. Trapped in the mountains and alone with a dead, frozen body, Carrie must keep her head and make it out before the killer comes for her too. But is the deadly game of cat and mouse all in her mind? The body count begs to differ. Yeah, this doesn't really have much of anything in comparison to The Shining by Stephen King, but I still kind of like the idea because it's still focused on a woman and like this motel, or not a motel, but what they say it was? Yeah, a motel. Yeah, a motel. A woman in a motel, and she's pretty much the only one there. There's a blizzard. She's stuck there. So yeah, there's kind of a bit of a Shining vibe to a degree. But yeah, this still sounds super compelling. I can't wait to see what's going on. Next up, Holmes is Missing by James Patterson and Brian Sitz. And this is book 2 in the Holmes, Margaret, and Poe mystery series. I'm going to go ahead and read the plot synopsis of this because I don't think it's going to spoil anything about the very first book, because I think they're kind of standalone, is my understanding. Successes come quickly to Holmes, Marple, and Poe investigations. The New York City agency, led by three detectives with famous names and mysterious pasts. Brendan Holmes, the brain, Margaret Marple, the eyes, and Auguste Poe, the muscle, is one major case away from cementing its professional reputation. But as a series of child abductions tests the PI's legendary skills, the cerebral Holmes' absence leaves a gaping hole in the agency roster. Only by closing ranks and solving the mystery within can they recover all that's been lost. So yeah, this is book 2 in this particular series. I haven't read the first one yet, but I like the idea because these detectives are named after 3 very big names when it comes to, you know, mystery thrillers, you know, Sherlock Holmes and Miss Marple, and then you have like Edgar Allan Poe. That's not a character, but it's a brand, if you will. So yeah, I can't wait to get to this series because it sounds really, really good. And yeah, I have a feeling James Patterson did not write this book. I don't know why James Patterson always flings his name on these things, so I don't think he wrote this. I think this guy, Brian Sitz, totally wrote this book. Next up, The Sinners All Bow, 2 authors, 1 murder, and the real Hester Prynne by Kate Winkler Dawson. I feel like this title says it all, but let's read the synopsis because it's good. And this is a work of nonfiction, you guys. On a cold winter day in 1832, Sarah Maria Cornell was found dead in a quiet farmyard in a small New England town. When her troubled past and secret correspondence with charismatic Methodist minister Ephraim Avery were uncovered, more questions emerged. Was Sarah's death a suicide or something much darker? Determined to uncover the real story, Victorian writer Catherine Reed Arnold Williams threw herself into the investigation as the trial was unfolding and wrote what many claim to be the first American true crime narrative, Fall River. The murder divided the country and inspired Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter, but questions linger to this day about what really led to Sarah Cornell's death until now. In this book, acclaimed true crime historian Kate Winkler Dawson travels back in time to finish the work Williams started nearly 2 centuries before. Using modern investigative advancements, including forensic knot analysis, archival deep dives, and criminal profiling, Dawson fills in the gaps of Williams' research to find out what really happened and bring justice to an unsettling mystery that speaks to our past as well as our present, anchored by 3 women who subverted the script they were given. So yeah, this just sounds like a true crime sort of nonfiction book, something that's been kind of not entirely resolved. And yeah, having kind of to do with the Scarlet Letter to a degree. This woman who was murdered, how she inspired Nathaniel Hawthorne, I guess. So I'm really intrigued to get to this. And yeah, it's not really long either. I hate huge, bulky nonfiction, you guys, so this should be easy to consume. And the last book that I have here is Ankh-'s Storm by Rebecca Yarros. And I'm actually going to go ahead and use this opportunity to haul the other 2 books in this series because like I said, I'm so far behind with book hauls, and I haven't even hauled the other books in this series. So I'm just going to go ahead and take this opportunity to haul the entire trilogy for my own sanity. So I'm going to grab the other 2 books really quickly. So the very first book in the series is Fourth Wing. Such a shiny cover, you guys. And then the second book in the series is called Iron Flame. And like I said, I just recently purchased the 3rd book in the series, Ankh-'s Storm, and I believe this is supposed to be it. And yeah, I got this really nice edition of the book. The edging is black and there's like dragons on the side. That's really cool. So, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and take this opportunity to haul the entire trilogy so I don't have to worry about hauling it later. I'm just going to go ahead and read the synopsis for the very first book. I have not read this trilogy whatsoever, but I have heard nothing but good things about this trilogy. People are just obsessed with this trilogy. So I'm just curious what the hell it's about. Let's see. 20-year-old Violet was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. Now, the commanding general, also known as her tough as Talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of Navarre, which I guess is what this fantasy realm is called, dragon riders. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away, because dragons don't bond to fragile humans, they incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most would kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter. Like Caden? Someone tell me if you've read this book. Is it Zayden? What is that? The most powerful and ruthless wing leader in the Riders Quadrant. She'll need every edge her wits can give her just to see the next sunrise. Yet with every day that passes, the war outside grows more deadly. The kingdom's protective wards are failing, and the death toll continues to rise. Even worse, Violet begins to suspect leadership is hiding a terrible secret. Like I said, I've heard nothing but good things about this trilogy, and yeah, I'm obsessed with things like Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, you know, people on dragons. This is my thing. So this sounds like House of the Dragons, like maybe like in a more academic school setting of sorts, you know, like a competition style kind of thing. I don't know, maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but yeah. Yeah, this whole trilogy, I can't wait to get to it. And they look so nice together too. They're so shiny. I love when book trilogies or just series in general, I like when everything matches, you know, because you have like the author here, you have the title here, you have like some sort of dragon design here. I love when books, they match. I hate when there's like a redesign, so I'm glad that all this matches. So you guys, that is it for my up-to-date book haul. I will get back to my regularly scheduled book hauls the next time. Like I said, I am just so far behind on book hauls, it's not even funny. So it was nice to have a up-to-date book haul. I just felt like doing an up-to-date one for once. So you guys, that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any of these books that you guys have read, any that I should read sooner rather than later, just let me know. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye guys.